All right, so tonight we've got, it's got to be on. We've got Mr. Basehowski, science teacher, Mrs. Cyberly, English, Ms. Tucker, math, Mr. Weber, wannabe social studies teacher. So they're going to give you a little overview of advanced courses, and then, like I said, at the end I'll wrap up with NTN. I will say this for NTN parents, 3 of the 4 teachers next year are standing here in front of you. So the only one missing tonight is Mr. Sorge. So to start off, Mr. Basehowski.
What is NTN?
It's our tech network.
Oh, okay.
All right, I'm Mr. Basehowski, the science teacher on the T team. Myself, Mrs. Henderson, and Mr. Nichols, we all have a section of advanced science, one section on each team. And we collaborate a lot so that our curriculum is very similar. The big thing for knowing how advanced classes are different is it's really about like the depth of the material and the pacing. We move at a more brisk pace, and we just go a little bit deeper into the same content and material as we do in the standard classes. We do tend to incorporate more long-term projects that have more of an independent aspect to them. And rather than disseminating the information to the students in class as much, a lot of the information will be kind of independently acquired by the students, and then we supplement in the classroom and we do extension within the classroom. Some keys about what the class is not. It is not required to take the advanced class in 8th grade in order to be on the AP or advanced track once they get to Southwoods and into Valley. So a lot of my 8th grade students right now are considering whether they're going to take biology, which is the advanced track next year, or whether they're going to take the standard Foundations of Science class. And I've had many students that have taken my regular Science 8 class and then have qualified and gone on to the biology class in Southwoods and done very well. So it is not required in order to stay on that AP track. And kind of along the same lines, it does not give high school credit. There are some courses, like the most advanced math class, that does essentially count as a high school class. This does not. So again, there's not really any real negatives to choosing not to do the advanced. And one key point is it's not an easy A. It's not a class where students can just come, participate, do what they're supposed to in class, and receive A's like they have. Mrs. Henderson and I often like to say that this is a good chance for students to kind of fail forward. We have very few students that ever actually fail, but they might receive their first B or C that first quarter and realize, okay, this pacing is something I need to get adjusted to. I need to put in a little more independent time. We believe pretty firmly that it's beneficial for them to do that now in 8th grade rather than in high school when they first see AP classes and when they're actually earning credits for it. So just a few FYIs. It is a very good prep for students that intend on doing advanced placement classes in high school. So we really try and emulate the pacing and the depth of the content. It is the same content and standards, so I actually use the same assessments for my advanced classes as I do for my regular classes because we're trying to achieve the same standards. It's just the delivery of the content and the projects that they do are different. It does require a lot of rigor by the students, organization, and good out-of-class preparation by them. And when we look at qualification, there's numerous qualifiers, but really if students are struggling, I almost always look back at some of their assessment scores, and if they've been below that 80 to 85 range, sometimes not having that background knowledge in science makes the advanced class more difficult. So that's advanced science. Any questions on advanced science specifically? Yes, ma'am.
For your advanced classes, do you offer an extra credit, so to speak, like you would in high school, where as a B would be an A or a C would be a B, or is it just the grade that you just...
No, just a standard grading scale.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions on science or advanced classes in general?
So does it require long homework and other than fast-paced that you teach in class?
Right. She asked if it requires longer homework time. I would say it is definitely more independent work than the regular classes. Not more than a maximum of 30 minutes a night. We are trying, again, to kind of mirror what they do in AP classes, and they will have at least 30 minutes a night once they get out of high school.
What
Yes.
are the ninth grade science options?
So the ninth grade science options are basically biology, which is considered the advanced track, or the standard, they call it Foundations of Science, which is somewhat similar. It's kind of a diversified science class where they do a lot of chemistry and physics. The vast majority of students take that class, but those in the advanced track take the biology. Yes?
When they talked about the 8th grade science before, they said it was chemistry-based curriculum, and you just said something about biology. Is it a different curriculum for advanced?
No, so the biology course is the ninth grade class. That's at Valley Southwoods. That's biology is what advanced placement students would take going into ninth grade. The curriculum for 8th grade is really varied. We do earth science, basically earth science first quarter, chemistry second quarter, physics third quarter, and human biology fourth quarter. So it's pretty diversified. Actually, Brady, can you hit it one more time? Oh, go back. Well, that didn't actually show up the way it should have. I will be doing NTN next year, and really increased pacing, depth of concepts, and independent information acquisition is how my advanced class in NTN will be modeled. All the NTN classes will be focused around long-term projects, but the pacing and the depth will just be a little bit greater with the advanced class.
My name's Katie Seiberling. I teach language arts and do other things. These slides are from last year, so I don't know what's on them, so I'm just going to kind of go quickly through them. I really can't add too much to what Brian pointed out on his 3 areas. I think really that goes for English and probably social studies as well. This is kind of the general English curriculum, so I'll let you take a look at that. And like Brian said, it's not necessarily a different curriculum for the advanced class. It's a different pace and a different depth with different types of conversations, less, I don't want to say hand-holding and sound derogatory to the other classes, but in the advanced class, students are expected to have the background knowledge, have the reading comprehension strategies so that we can move on to more analysis and different types of writing and with a little bit less structure that we kind of infer that they already have. The difference is, like it says with reading more books, more nonfiction, one thing, there's not necessarily more homework in advanced English, but we are looking for students who not only qualify, the qualifications are important. We know that test scores and grades don't mean everything, but they do indicate to us that a student has some background knowledge and has put in effort in 7th grade to do well. And students who really go into these advanced classes are the kind of kids who should be coming home excited to learn more and read more and do more, not the kids that maybe you're having to push every night to get that 20 minutes of reading in. Those things are kind of less structured, again, in advanced English, and they're more expected. And so kids can find themselves falling behind more quickly if they're not pretty motivated and wanting to do well. So we really encourage it to be an opportunity for kids who want to try this out and who qualify. We do understand the appeal process, and very often we have kids who are very deserving to be in advance, but those 2 things together are really pretty important to us. The qualifications and then also that desire to be there and that kind of thirst for whether it's 1 class or 2 classes or all 4, wanting to know more and be more of a scholar in that particular area. Any questions about advanced English?
What's the qualification?
It's Iowa assessment scores and 7th grade English language arts grade, which I'm sure Eric and Brady have all that. I don't want to say because I don't know the exact numbers after the Iowa assessment numbers changed. But there are some qualifications. And as Sarah pointed out earlier, there is an appeal process because we know every kid has a bad year or doesn't take tests well, and we understand that. Eric also will then get input from the student's team of teachers, and he'll look for different data points so that he's not just making a decision based on his feel. So we do try to make sure that kids who deserve the opportunity and want the opportunity to pursue the advanced class get that, but it's not just kind of a, oh, well, you know, I scored really low, I don't like English, and I don't do well, but my parents want me to be in this. Those students oftentimes are the ones that maybe were looking to switching out of it at quarter, or who don't seem as satisfied in the class. Yeah.
If your child easily fits into those qualifications, but I don't necessarily see a thirst for knowledge, is this a good fit?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, because one of the things that I really want to point out is that our regular 8th grade classes are very rigorous. And one of the things I think we've gotten a lot better at as a school district is the differentiation piece, and trying to recognize that we're going to have kids at all levels in all of our classes. I certainly have kids in my regular English classes who could be and maybe should be in advanced. And those students don't receive a lesser education because they're not in advanced. We really work to evaluate each student individually and to make sure that we're providing those opportunities for enrichment and accelerated pace and, you know, all kinds of different things, both for students who need our support and for students who are able to kind of move beyond what we're doing in the regular classroom. So in no way, as we'll talk about repeatedly, if they don't take advanced, they can still do that later on. But I also don't want anyone to think that if a student's not interested in taking advanced, that they're going to be in, you know, some sort of kind of bland classroom where we're just going through the motions. You know, we work really hard as PLCs, our department teams, and then also vertically with the 7th grade teachers and the 9th grade teachers, and to make sure that we're giving every kid what they need, whether they're in our regular class, our co-taught class, or our advanced class. Anything else? Yeah.
You kind of alluded to this earlier, but let's say a kid's in a class and they're struggling or having a problem with it. You said something about switching at quarter or something.
Yeah, I don't know if we have switched kids out of advanced that often, because like I said, our preference would probably be to work with that student and that family to